Hey, what's going on? Thanks for being here. This is RJ's Cave, and you got good timing because we were just going to start talking about guitar mods, all right? Before we jump into it, though, if you like this video, hit the like button, all right? And if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you don't mind. This way you get messages, right, whenever we drop a new video, and then hopefully YouTube starts putting our videos out in front of more people, right? So then everybody kind of wins. So why am I already talking to you guys about guitar mods when you guys probably just picked up your first guitar, right? Well, because I know you probably didn't get that perfect guitar as your first guitar, right? Because nobody ever does. So this way you get to know what you can do to improve what you got, okay? And they're actually pretty easy. Okay, most of them are pretty easy. The only thing that you got to worry about is the electronics, and there are ways around that, believe it or not. But we're going to talk about that, okay? So I'm going to talk about the easiest things first, okay? The easiest things might sound like things that don't really have a lot to do with changing the guitar, okay? But if your guitar has junky tuners, then changing those tuners is gonna help you out a whole lot, and you can do it relatively inexpensively these days if you don't mind, non-name brand equipment, but you can trying to look for something of a reasonable quality. You know what I mean? So, and that's kind of what you really want to. You kind of want to balance getting really good stuff with getting stuff that's going to just really fix the issues that you have, okay? So that you end up with a really good guitar out of this. That's another discussion, or maybe we'll get into a little more as we go. But anyway, the easy stuff, first things, like I mentioned, was tuners, right? Tuners is relatively easy most of the time because they're generally universal, okay, in size. There are actually, when I say this, two sizes, okay? There's a classic size, which is about a 1/4 inch size hole. You'll see guitars trying to be classic that have that. You're not going to see tons of them because usually the ones that are trying to be classic are expensive. What you'll find those size tuners on usually is the cheapest of guitars, and those are not good tuners at all at that size, at that price point, okay? If you're looking at a $2,000 Gibson guitar that's trying to be a 59 classic and it's got tuners on it that are spec'd to that 59, okay? So they're going to be that way, and there are companies that sell replacements for that stuff too. So, okay, know the size of the tuner holes you got, because you can get, if you don't mind spending up a little bit on this part, you can get tuners that'll drop in, or you can just do what most people will do is just buy the standard size, more standard size, because those, like I said, that's kind of like 10% of the 20% maybe of the market, and the rest is going to be the standard, the more standard size, as I'm saying. Okay, it's going to be, I think it's 11 millimeters actually. I tend to use a 10 millimeter drill and just wiggle it a little bit, and then it slides right in. I know it's not professional, but I'm not a professional, so I was just trying to fix up a cheaper guitar. But anyway, so there's 1/4 inch size, okay, and then there is the standard, more standard size. That's what's either 10 or 11 millimeter, okay, and most guitars will have that size. And if your tuners are really bad, okay, if your new inexpensive guitar has really bad tuners, and it happens. You can look around and find for about in the $10, $15 range, $20 range, you can find a solid set of tuners that you can just drop in more or less, okay? You might need to drill a new screw hole for that little screw that's on the back, okay? Because there's only one little screw on the back of these. But other than that, it should just be a drop in, okay? And take about 15 minutes to do. The other easy one is strap locks in place of strap buttons, okay? If anyone who's ever seen a guitar player do a flip, right, where they just take their hand and they hit the heel of the guitar and they push as hard as they can, against the strap, like, to keep the strap tight as it spins the guitar all around the body. And there are times when that thing goes flying. Sometimes that's a strap lock failure, which is the strap lock is what we're talking about next. But a lot of times just because they didn't have a strap lock. Okay, it was just a regular strap button. So guys will get strap locks. Okay, and I like them this way. I would never do something like that, but I like having them on my guitars because then it never falls off. Sometimes it'll just slide off. After a while, the material that's going over the strap button gets soft from use. And it'll actually slide off. So, this doesn't happen now, okay? And you can get them for about $6 or $7 a set online in inexpensive places like eBay, stuff like that. Or you can go to the name brands and spend $10, $20, $30. That's up to you. But that's a part, personally, I don't see as being necessary to spend up for, okay? But these are the two easiest mods. They seem like they don't do a lot, but they actually do. They're actually kind of helpful, and as a beginner, they're probably the best way to go. Strap locks is easy. It requires a couple of toothpicks, a set of snips to cut the toothpicks to length, and some wood glue, and a little time. And that's it, because you gotta let the glue dry, and then you put the new screw in with the strap lock, put the other end on the strap, and you're done. Right? So that's actually fairly easy as well as the tuners. Now, okay. Now, all right. So now we've talked about the easiest. Let's talk about the most dramatic. The most dramatic change in your guitar is going to happen with pickups. Okay, if you don't have good pickups and you trade them out for a good set of pickups, it's going to be night and day automatically, right? It's going to be you can liven up a dead sounding guitar in an instant with a new set of pickups, and you don't have to spend up to $200 on a set of pickups or even one pickup to do that. Okay. There are companies out there that are making high quality stuff these days they're trying to get a share of the market, which is actually kind of crowded, and so they're not charging custom prices anymore. There are companies out there that are in people's houses and they're selling sets of pickups for $50, $60, $70 a set that are basically hand wound. So you can find a good set. There's also other ways to get good pickups. Places like Reverb, where people will sell pickups from, say, Mexican Stratocasters, which are really good pickups. But they swapped them out for American Stratocaster pickups, American-made pickups. Same company, but just American-made. And a lot of guys will tell you that the two sets of pickups are not at all very different. They're minor differences as far as everything goes. So, but one set is $200 and the other set is on Reverb for $40, $50, and it's just a drop-in set. So you can make good sounds out of it. You can make a dull sounding guitar sound good with a quick pickup swap. And the other thing about pickup swaps is that if you're buying a new set, and it's a new set, you can also find sets with pots and everything, potentiometers, the knobs and all that. Okay, that's pots. That will just click in place, no soldering needed. You might have to wire up one wire, okay, which maybe you don't even need to put solder on that, you know what I mean? Depending on how you do your ground, you may not even need to do that. So, okay, so there's options there too, right? And then now, the most potentially needed one on your guitar is probably going to be your nut, okay? Because on inexpensive guitars, your nut there's no time spent on it, okay? When you buy a really high-end guitar, that nut is as polished as the finish on the guitar, okay? And it has to be that way, or it should be that way, because you want no friction, or as little friction as possible on those strings in order to make sure that it stays in tune, right? So, but when you get an inexpensive guitar, there's not a lot of time spent on those nuts, right? Because it's a factory. It's like, it's got to churn them out. So the guy has so many, he's got to do a day, or he's going to lose his job and somebody else is going to come in. So he's just taking a fret file and he's cutting out the slots real quick quick like that, and it's basically a mini saw, right? A tiny little saw. So, so that's usually the one that's most needed, especially if you have a guitar with a tremolo like a Squier Stratocaster. Okay, that's one of the most common first guitars. So I'll mention it by name, not to degrade it, but because most people will have it. The nut on that is usually going to be shot, so you need to change that. Once you change that, though, as long as your strings are good, you should be able to use that tremolo a little bit, and it's not going to go out of tune. It's still kind of a tremolo that's not meant to stay in perfect tune if you abuse it. So, and it'll never be a Floyd Rose, so don't push it. So now that I've segued there, the one other one is dramatic and cheap. Okay, this is one that's inexpensive and it can make a dramatic change, right? Let's say you can't do pickups right away, but you have a guitar with a tremolo or even just a regular flat tail bridge, okay? Then you can replace those, okay? Or even in the case of a tremolo, you can sometimes just replace the block with a better metal, okay? And what that does is it can turn that dull sounding set of pickups and bring them to life. Okay, you can make them very bright sounding, because now when you have an inexpensive like Squier Stratocaster, you have a guitar that has a tremolo block that's basically made out of the softest alloy they can come up with, the cheapest alloy they can come up with. That's a very soft metal. If you put something that's made out of steel or brass in there, as a block, now your strings are vibrating on something that's a good pure metal, and that's going to change the tone and liven it up a whole lot. Believe me, I've done it to a couple of guitars, and one of them I regretted because now I got to change the pickups because it's so bright. It got so bright and lively. It's almost too much for me most of the time. So now I got to change the pickups or something. So guys, that is the guitar mods. Okay. Real quick also, besides the nut, if I was picking one other one that would be the most needed on your guitar, it would be the pickups. Okay, so if it wasn't the nut, it was the pickups. Mod I think you should do probably would be the nut, and get a new block for your tremolo if you have a tremolo, or get a steel bridge, and I would ask somebody else to put that in because you're probably going to need to drill new holes. Okay, so I wouldn't mess around with that. Or keep the bridge plate and buy new saddles. Buy stainless steel saddles or titanium saddles or brass saddles. That in itself is a big difference. Trust me, that's the thing to do on that case. Keep your bridge plate and get yourself saddles, new saddles for that bridge, okay, that are made out of better metal, because that inexpensive guitar is always going to have cheap soft metal bridge. Okay, guys, thanks. I'm going to try and cut this short now. I'm sorry if this feels like it's been long-winded or anything. I wanted to get through that so that you know that there's stuff that can be done if you pick up a guitar and then have second thoughts on it afterwards. It doesn't have to be your bad guitar or whatever. You can learn to do other things, and it's important that you do learn to do these other things. Okay, because you want to understand what you got, and you never want to get taken for a ride when you go somewhere to get something fixed or anything like that. So, and that goes for anything, not just guitars. So knowing a little bit about it is always a good idea. So check out the channel. I have playlists. I have a list of 700 or 800 songs. I don't even count them. They're backing tracks: hard rock, metal, blues, classic rock, ballads, all that stuff. It's that I found over the years on YouTube. I've made available to everybody. It's just I just kept doing, clicking them and putting them in a list, and next thing I knew, I had all these things. So, but as well as that, I also have 3 lists for RJ's Cave. There's the master list. There's the list for talks like this. There's a list for gear talks, okay, and reviews and things like that. So check out my other videos, all right, and subscribe, notify, hit the like button, all right? And please, guys, remember, when you're learning how to make magic, when you're learning how to make music, you really are learning how to make magic, because learning, you can change someone's day just by playing a song. So go learn how to make music, learn how to make magic. This is RJ's Cave. Later.